Have a troublesome student in your class? Not quite sure how to deal with hecklers tactfully this day and age? Well, don't worry. In this video, I'm going to show you my favorite ways to deal with hecklers in a classroom setting. Let's go. Guys, my name is Cody P. I've been teaching paintings for about 4.5 years now at a paint and sip, and as a male in a female-dominated sport, even when there's alcohol involved, you best believe they're pushing all my buttons, and I've seen a few hecklers in my day. Now, on to the pro tips. If you guys are new here, don't forget to press that subscribe button for more videos on dealing with students and, in general, how to lead healthy relationships in your life. Now, pro tip number 1, don't feel bad about disciplining your hecklers. Why not? Well, let's think about the psychology. What is a heckler trying to do? They're trying to bring the attention of the room onto themselves. And even if they're not just trying to do that, they may be entering a dominance battle to look cool for their friends and come out on top as the top dog against their teacher. So I don't want you to feel bad about it. Furthermore, students or followers in general like to test their leaders. And that's not a bad thing at all. Why do they like to test their leaders? So they know that they can trust them. So that they know in the face of evil, you will act and you'll put an end to it. And oftentimes their hecklers are willing to martyr themselves so that you can either put up or shut up, and so they know whether or not they can trust their leader. Pro tip number 2 is going to be a little bit tougher: preventative medicine. And how do you prevent somebody who's just going to interrupt you anyways? Well, it starts as soon as you meet that person. Now, if it's too late for that, don't worry. But when you meet people, what are you coming across as? And this is something you're going to want to think about in your character. Do you give a limp handshake? Are you somebody who can be walked all over? Do you make eye contact? Are you willing to stand for what you believe in, or are you always conforming to opinions? These types of things in your first impression matter, and students especially can smell that blood, and they are going to come for you. So you'll be more of a target if you come across as an easy to intimidate person. So that'll be your preventative medicine to work on that and make sure your students know that you're not somebody to walk all over. If you want more about that, drop a comment below and I can elaborate further in the future. Pro tip number 3 is actually going to be non-reactiveness. So this is in the beginning of the heckling phases, or for anybody who's throwing jokes at you, this will make you a more attractive person as a whole, is to be non-reactive. So let's talk about what non-reactiveness is. It's when somebody is trying to throw some shade your way, or if somebody gives you a kind of a hurtful little joke. If you turn into a butthurt little baby and you start crying about it, they're going to know that you're not truly tough, that you're not truly fortified. But if it goes in one ear and right out the other and they're trying to take you down, their attacks are no good against you. So what does non-reactiveness communicate? Well, first off, it's I'm in my frame, not yours. My message is more important, so you can tell me whatever you want, but hey, we're here anyways. Might as well listen. And that can go for any instance. If you're delivering a speech and somebody is yelling at you, you've all seen those news reporters where somebody comes up and honks the horn, and if they keep on reporting, that's the best thing that they can do. Keep the show going. They are in your frame, you are not in theirs. And this goes for any little comment. Stay on track. Stay in your zone. Stay meditative, laser focused, non-reactive, in one ear, out the other. Pro tip number 3. Now, if things really start to escalate and your heckler is just not listening, then you can actually take them aside and talk with them. Whether you do that in person or if you do that in front of a large audience, you can do it anyways, but you will want to level with them. Furthermore, when you level with your student, do it face to face, person to person. Tell them the truth. Know that you're only looking out for their best good, and either this needs to happen or you need to hit the road. And I'm going to tell a little story about this one, and that will lead nicely into my next point. Not that I was teaching, but in general, when it comes to disciplining children, I was at Easter with my family this last year, and I love my family. If you guys are watching, I'm sorry. But there was Elijah, this little boy, terrible 2 years old, and he kept slamming the door between the family room and the dining room. And if he shut this door, the cats weren't going to be able to get in and out. Plus, he was making a lot of noise. So here I am, enjoying my Easter dinner as much as I can. Tasha is ready to rip her hair out. She doesn't want to deal with this boy anymore. So I stand up, and the whole family sees that I go over to this little boy, and I get down eye to eye and say, Elijah, I need you to keep this door open. We need to let the cats be able to run in and out, and you're making a lot of noise. We need you to stop. Now, are you going to quit, or would you like to go on a timeout? And so I let him know, hey, here's exactly why what you're doing is wrong, and here's what I'm going to do about it if you continue. You need to stop. Treat them as a person, take them side to side, and say something about it personally. Otherwise, you can discipline further. Now, that leads into my next point. Another reason to not feel bad about interrupting a heckler is because your students will thank you. I've got 2 instances of that. After I told Elijah to be quiet, there was a hush over the entire Easter dinner, and they were thankful. They told me, oh, he's not going to like you. You're going to be on the naughty list. Bad Cody. And I accepted that responsibility. No more than a week or 2 later, I was getting hit up on Facebook by my aunt saying that Elijah wanted to see me. Love you, Tosh. Now, another instance where the audience actually thanked me for disciplining a poorly behaved student was in Fergus Falls. We were doing a very detailed, very focused painting, and this lady kept yelling, Cody P, I need help, and while the rest of the student was meticulously measuring their trees. Now, she actually excused herself to go to the bathroom, and when she came back, because she was walking all over me, she actually brought even more people in to play. I had to come down with the hammer. I said, okay, cool, why don't you bring this on out here? Am I getting kicked out? Yes, actually, I'm sorry, but you are. Now please leave. And she put up a little bit of a fuss, but I got her out of the room. Same thing, hush. Across the entire room. The students thanked me. Remember, they're there to see you. They're there to learn from you. Their grades depend on you. And so you got to keep the show moving. And if that means removing a poorly behaved student, then do so. Last but not least, if you absolutely have to, you can take the route of the comedian. Comedians have seen some of the worst heckling throughout history. It is to embarrass them. Tell them why what they're doing is wrong in front of pretty much everybody else. Especially if they didn't do their homework, call them out for it. Let them know it's their fault they're in the position that they're in. And some students will cry about it or whine to their parents. But honestly, if they know that you're competent and they know that you're doing it for the greater good, not because you're power tripping or not to make anybody look bad per se, but because you have good interests in mind, then don't be afraid to just embarrass them. Shut them down, put them in their place. They're going to be a little disdainful for a while, but ultimately they're going to respect you more. If you guys like these pro tips today, then go ahead and leave a comment down below. What was the worst heckling that you have ever had, be it in the classroom or what you have seen other students do to your teachers? Go ahead and comment that down below. I want to hear some stories and about those times that you wished you knew what to do. Or if you've got any other pro tips that I didn't add to my list, go ahead and comment those as well. And you guys remember to subscribe. I've actually got some links down below for books that can maybe help you out further on this topic. One more time, my name is Cody P, and today we learned how to deal with hecklers. How cool is that? See ya!